I feel like there's a lot of Martins today.
You are listening to Saints in the South. All right, welcome to Season 2, Episode 54. We are Saints in the South, representing saints everywhere, and we are your source for gospel growth and good times.
That's right.
Good to have Marcus back. He's been gone for a couple of weeks.
In an undisclosed location, as you can tell.
That's right.
Can't tell you what's, things going on.
In the woods. Look like woods.
Yeah, I try to, get into this, back into this church history stuff. I want to feel like, really bring it home.
Looks like a big old brown tree behind you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm out in the woods. Camoed up over here in a bunker. But
looking at some deer.
Whatever you got to do.
whatever we need to do for ratings. Here we go.
Well, hey, y'all go ahead and hit that subscribe button, whether you are watching on YouTube or listening to one of the podcast platforms. Remember to check out our website, saintsinthesouth.com. And we actually have a couple of comments to share with you today that people have left on YouTube. So got a couple good ones here. I think y'all enjoy these.
We only read the good ones.
That's right. So Josephine says, if you have any doubts about if this is true, just listen to them boys. They make it all come alive like they were there. I love you. Thanks for all the time and work you boys put into this for all of us around the world. God bless.
Well, from the boys, we say thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.
And one more, Darlene says, I love listening to Uncle Andrew tell the stories of Joseph Smith.
Oh.
But I'm going to call him Cousin Andrew, though.
Oh, okay. Well, appreciate it, Darlene. Cousin Darlene.
Cousin Darlene.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate those comments, the feedback, and so please take the opportunity to leave us a review on our website. Again, we just might share it here on the show, so you never know.
That's right.
Well, hey, today's show, Doctrine and Covenants, sections 3 through 5, and the title of it is "My Work Shall Go Forth." So, Andrew, you're up.
So here we are. So Joseph Smith just got the plates. There's a lot of persecution in Palmyra. So him and Emma go back to Emma's hometown, Harmony. Yeah. And this is where DNC 3 through 5 is, these revelations were actually revealed there in Harmony, Pennsylvania. And we get to meet, Brother Martin Harris, who is the same age as Joseph's parents.
Yeah.
And, so Martin actually pays for Joseph and Emma to get back to Harmony. He actually gives them some money so they can get back to Harmony. And anyways, we're getting ready just to learn and dive in what happens in these, why these revelations are revealed. And here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, some cool stuff. You really find out a little bit more about kind of Martin's personality as well as his wife. Mm-hmm. Again, they had traveled back to Harmony for one of the reasons Emma was pregnant. She was expecting, and Martin decides to go back to Harmony to help Joseph. Well, Lucy, Martin's wife, says, "Hey, I'm coming with you. We're basically, whether you like it or not, I'm coming." And they show up there, and Lucy is actually kind of she's pretty forward, right? In her actions and everything. I mean, she's wanting to see those gold plates, right? And she starts just kind of tearing the house apart, and just doing whatever she wants to do. I thought was like, man,
Yeah. Well, one thing I didn't realize, or I guess I had maybe heard of, but didn't really think of until sort of studying for this is, as Andrew had mentioned, Martin Harris is like 20 years older than Joseph Smith. Right. This is, like Andrew said, his parents' age, so Lucy and Martin are a lot older.
That's true. Yeah.
And so when you put that, just something as small as that, that puts a little bit more perspective on sort of how things went down, because the biggest question to me always is, why would Joseph ask 3 times when the first 2 times it was no from the Lord? Right. And it's because, first of all, Martin Harris done a lot. He helped out with some finances, and Martin Harris has sacrificed a lot of his social life and things like this, with friends and stuff. And so Joseph knows that and knows what he's sort of what he's sacrificed. And he kind of feels a little obligated to him.
I don't put any blame on Martin, and I also don't put any blame on Joseph either.
Right.
With what you're saying there, Joseph really wanted. I mean, he understood that there was a lot of people out there against him and trying to stop him from doing what he was doing, whereas Martin, his elder, was really keen on helping him out and sacrificing. And again, Martin was an established businessman, well known in the community, well respected, and he was putting his reputation on the line. So a lot has to be said for Martin to be willing to do that. So I can understand him wanting to see the plates for sure. So
if you think about it, Martin Harris already had witnesses to the Book of Mormon. I think he had sufficient witnesses to know that the Book of Mormon was real before he ever saw any plates, which we know about later, him being one of the 3 witnesses. But what I'm getting to is he helped Joseph Smith he helped him, he transcribed for Joseph. He saw manuscripts, he saw characters that were written down for him to take to, the professor and things like that. There was a lot of little things that helped bear witness to him that the plates were real. This was not something made up. I think he had enough witness. He knew it was real. So it wasn't about him. It wasn't about him. And Andrew could probably give that background better, with the wife and some other things that was going on.
I mean, this is the very beginning of the restoration golden plates. I mean, Joseph Smith was figuring it out,
right?
And Martin was just super excited. He was super excited, and it was farming time. Lucy was there in Palmyra, and here they are. There's a lot of talk. Here's this Martin Harris following this, not following, but just what's he doing? What's he doing in Harmony? I mean, we got a farm. He's a wealthy guy in Palmyra, and there's a lot of just foolish things happening, making fun of him. So and then again, like I said, Martin Harris, he's very well known for losing the 116 pages,
right?
But he done a lot of good things.
He done a whole lot of stuff.
I mean, financing the Book of Mormon.
Financing was huge. He was huge on the financing part.
And he always wanted to see before he could believe. That I think that's one thing. He wanted to see it before he could believe it. And he had so many witnesses, like Marcus was saying, but he just kept on. He was just really excited. I mean, he was just, and we have to remember too, Joseph Smith is still learning and becoming a prophet. And DNC 3 is actually the first revelation he received. This here inspired him to write revelations down,
right.
So this is, he's learning, he got, we fall sometimes. We just got to get back up and all.
Right.
So exactly.
But anyways, it's definitely a really expensive. It's the most expensive section in the Doctrine and Covenants.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, right. Yeah. So let's get into that for a little bit.
Okay.
So Martin convinces Joseph to take the 116 pages after he's Joseph asked the Lord 3 times. He says, all right, you take them, but you can only show them to your wife and certain family members, and that is it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Martin leaves, and then the very next day, Joseph's wife Emma has the baby, and the baby is either stillborn or dies within just a few hours.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, gut wrenching, right?
Yeah.
To have to go through that and experience that. And also Emma ends up almost dying herself. I mean, it took a toll on her. And so so for the next couple of weeks, Joseph is right by her side, and taking care of her, and so forth, and helping her recover. Well, it's Emma that brings up, hey, we haven't heard back from Martin yet. So I think you need to go and check and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So Joseph, he kind of reluctantly says, okay, I don't want to leave you, but I think you're right. So he hops a stagecoach, heads back to the Palmyra area, goes to his parents' home. They send word for Martin to come to have breakfast with them. And they wait, and he's about 4 hours late. And then they see him out there, and he goes and he's sitting down next to the fence post or whatever. And so anyway, he finally comes in and he starts to eat, and he can't eat. And then he says, I've lost my soul. The records are gone.
Yeah.
And
Joseph, the way that the story's told, it sounds like Joseph knows right away.
Right.
He's just like, Martin tell me you haven't lost the pay. I mean, that was his, the way it's portrayed, it sounds like it's his first question, his first thing, like, oh my goodness, as soon as,
how in situations where the air is just thick, I mean, and he walks in the door, he first sits down and he's getting ready to eat, and it's thick in there waiting,
absolutely.
And stuff. So finally,
he was invited for breakfast, but it ended up being lunchtime.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't want to go in there. You remember how that was when you something was going on and you had to go face your daddy?
Oh my gosh, man.
It's the worst. It's like, I can't, I dread it all day.
And then Joseph's like, all is lost. That's that famous quote we hear, saying all is lost. And you got to think on Martin Harris, he's like I said, he's Joseph's mom and dad's age, and he's walking in kind of scared.
And that, you know what, Andrew, that's a great point. I just thought of that. When I speak of the humility of Martin Harris, I mean, there's some humility shown here. Because he could have easily just said, you know what, that kid, he's a younger kid. I ain't gotta explain nothing to him. I'll just, I won't see him again. But Martin Harris had a testimony, obviously. Yeah. I mean, he had a testimony. He knew that this was God's work. He knew what was going on. He knew who was in charge. And when I say that, I don't mean Joseph Smith. I mean Jesus Christ. He knew that these things were true. And so that's a good point you bring up, Andrew. Yeah. He was not so much scared of Joseph Smith. He was disappointed to have to tell Joseph Smith this, but he was scared of the Lord, and because he knew what he had done. He'd made a covenant, and that covenant was broken. And so that's why he said, I feel like, I've lost my soul. I'm done. It's over. But yet nothing really happened. I mean, as far as like everything worked out perfectly because the Lord had already made a plan for when this was going to happen. And that's the thing for us to learn, is that everything will work out. We need to turn to the Lord, humble ourselves, and the Lord's going to take care of it. Okay. And it's all about us. It's all about what we do, what we choose to do. So
from Lucy Max, Joseph's mother, from her writings and journal, she described how much anguish was in the home at that time. She talked about Joseph crying like an infant, and just distraught. So he's lost his child, right?
And
his wife.
I haven't put that together.
Yeah, his wife.
Right,
I mean,
man.
his world is crashing down right now.
It's the worst. It's the at this point, and believe me, Joseph's going to go through it. We know this, but at this point, this is probably.
It's one of his lowest. It's one of his lowest moments.
I mean, this is rough.
That I think, because he's also worried about having to go back and tell Emma what has happened as well.
Let's be honest. Would you not want to tap out? I mean, just say, Lord, how about let's pass this on to somebody else.
Well, think about this. Think about this. So he ends up heading back to Harmony. Okay. And it's there where the angel Moroni ends up appearing to him. And again, Joseph is beating himself up like crazy.
Oh yeah.
So now this is when Moroni ends up taking the Urim and Thummim from him, takes the plates from him, and says, you've obviously messed up here, so it's time to take a break.
Right.
And so now he's just like, what in the world? Stuff. So
and in verse 3 of section 3, remember that is not the work of God that is frustrated, but the work of men. So that's definitely great to remember. And Emma, you got to think, she was invested in this too. She was actually Joseph's first scribe, then Martin. Yeah. And little funny quick story about Martin being so persistent and want to see before believing. While he was a scribe, they got a little weary and tired real quick, and they went down to the river, which was right just down there by their house. And he sees a stone that looked just like the other seer stone that Joseph had. So anyway, Martin got the stone, took the stone. Before he got in the house, he switched it out, tried to trick Joseph.
Try to trick him, yeah.
Yeah, and I say trick Joseph. He was just really wanting to know. He was just so super excited. He was just, and anyway, Joseph was looking, and a few minutes went by, and he's like, what's the matter, Martin? Something like, as dark as Egypt or something like that. I can't remember, but anyways,
yeah.
And Martin's like, man, I was just making
Testing,
sure, man.
Basically, yeah.
And Joseph's like, what's up, man? I mean,
It's like, come on, dude, come on.
He looks at him. He says, "Why would you do that?"
Yeah. It's like,
here we are doing the Lord's work, and you're playing around over there,
exactly,
skipping rocks. Anyway, Martin, man, and one thing we failed to mention, he was supposed to share like to a few individuals, Lucy, I think her sister,
right,
parents. There was like 5 people, but he got overexcited. He started showing it to other people,
right,
and so therefore he disobeys Joseph.
Yeah.
And again, man, he never gives up. Martin, at the end, we come to find out that
he's very persistent.
Yeah, just very persistent, man. He just
and for those that want to criticize Martin Harris, I mean, let's just be honest. If I had looked down and saw a stone that looked just like the seer stone,
yeah,
you can't tell me that it would have been like, this might be a good way to figure out something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that. It would be from the angle of, I know he's lying, so I'm gonna, I think it was just from the angle of curiosity and, hey, why not? Let's just see what happens.
So 2 months goes by before Moroni comes back, and then that's when he ends up. Joseph he has repented, and like we've kind of mentioned, instead of and Satan has given him every reason to stop. You're no good, Joseph. You failed again. You're not following the Lord. You might as well give up, right? Yeah. But Joseph, he turns to the Lord. He asks for forgiveness. Moroni appears and explains to him. And one of the most beautiful things that I come across is that whenever later on, when Joseph's parents come to visit them because they haven't heard anything as far as kind of what's come about everything, he told his mom and dad, he said, the angel told me that the Lord loved me for my faithfulness and humility. And to me, that just kind of overwhelmed me when I read that, because it was the Lord reassuring Joseph, look, it's okay. You messed up, but look, I love you. You're being faithful. And it also reminded me whenever I served as a bishop and someone goes through the repentance process, and be able to look at someone as a servant of the Lord and say, look, the Lord loves you. The Lord is grateful for your desire, for your humility, for your repentance and everything. The Lord loves you. And so with the angel Moroni telling him that, I'm sure that was probably one of the times that Joseph wept there as well and stuff. Yeah. And that's when he got everything back and went back to translating and everything and so forth. So,
this gives us a lot of insight on prophets in general. Any prophet, from the Old Testament, New Testament, Book of Mormon, whatever. This gives us a lot of insight of prophets are men that are doing the absolute best they can. The Lord qualifies these people. You know what I mean? You talk about how the angel was, Jackson, when we talk about the angel, we're talking about Moroni. When Moroni gives him back the Urim and Thummim and all, and he actually, that says that Joseph says, if I could find it, I can't remember. It says, I think it said, he said the angel rejoiced when he was able to give him back the Urim and Thummim,
right?
Because this is Moroni. Moroni is the messenger, right, in between the Lord and Joseph. And so I'm sure that when the Lord told Moroni, I said, all right, go give him back to him. I'm sure Moroni was like, yes, awesome, cool. We get this back going again. Here we go. And so when he gives them back to Joseph, he's like, check this out, man. Here we go, man. You get to do this again. Come on, man. Let's go. I got you back. Let's do this.
Right.
And so it's great. I guess what I'm trying to get to is it's greater than Joseph Smith, right? This whole thing is bigger than just Joseph Smith, but Joseph Smith was the one. He's the prophet of this dispensation. He's the one that opened this dispensation, so to speak. He's the restorer of the gospel. I mean, as far as like, he's the guy that handled this thing. You know what I'm saying? He was the one entrusted on the earth to start this whole thing up again. And as far as the restoration of the gospel. And so, but it's so much bigger than just Joseph Smith, right? This is a world thing. This is several dispensations type thing. I mean, this is huge. It's a big thing. And so when I hear these little things about Moroni rejoicing and, giving him back the Urim and Thummim and all this backstory and stuff that you don't really get out of the section, sometimes you have to go into history and start seeing the stuff. It makes the picture so much bigger than what's just in these sections. And that's the part that gets me excited about Doctrine and Covenants, is all this, just this little backstory type stuff, that's going on. So
in verse 12, where the Lord tells Joseph, he said, "Thou deliverest up that which was sacred into the hands of a wicked man." That to me, when I read that comes across really, really harsh.
It does.
Was Martin really a wicked man? When I think of wicked, I think of someone out, stealing, adulterizing, killing, just a really wicked person. So what I like to focus on in these verses here is what kind of maybe leads to wickedness. And so he set at naught the counsels of God. Okay. Number 2, he broke promises that he made before God. And then number 3, he depended upon his own judgment and boasted in his own strength. Yeah. That's what the Lord described as Martin. And so he wasn't doing it to try and be wicked, but he was relying upon his own wisdom.
Exactly.
Right.
And so
he said, all right,
the natural man's an enemy to God.
That's right. Exactly. And so he was like, you know what? I know I said I was only going to show it to these 5 people, but these 2 additional people, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. They were learning and we got to remember too, Joseph wasn't the prophet. I mean, he was becoming he wasn't, how can I say,
he was still in school.
Trying to learn who was
still in school. That's right.
So,
he was still in school. He's in kindergarten. I mean, come on.
I don't know if you, Marcus, if you listened last week, we said those 4 years was his university years.
Okay.
So he's working on his PhD now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, so he's on his PhD.
Yeah, he's got his bachelor's degree working on his master's.
Yeah. Also, just verse 5 in section 3. And remember also the promises which were made to you if you did not transgress them. And so I love how the Lord's reminding Joseph of the blessings instead of just his punishment or his wickedness or whatever. He's not just pointing out just the negative. It's the same way with us. I remember, I think about, repentance and when you feel like you need to repent, it's almost like it's not so much the point that you feel like you need to repent usually comes when you start remembering the blessings and remembering the goodness of the Lord. That's when you sort of go, okay, I need to do better. I need to get closer to the Lord. I can, and so that's the way the Lord works. Also, one of the things that I love is that the Lord does tell Joseph, like, look, you are called as a prophet. You have seen an angel. You've seen me. You've seen the plates. You have knowledge and you're privy to all these wonderful, huge things. But I can remove you as a prophet if you don't get it together. And that sounds harsh too, but I think the Lord's just trying to put Joseph in his place. Like, don't start to get, just kind of giving him a warning. Like, don't start getting up here and thinking like, okay, I have power to translate. I have power to do this and that. He's trying to let him know, like, hey, if you start to sort of go south, not that South is bad, we live in the South, but what I'm saying is, no, if you start taking this thing down, or start trying to do it on your own, I can remove you. And he's just letting him know
you don't,
but so we have that assurance. We'll never be deceived by a prophet. We'll never. And as a matter of fact, I read, Wilford Woodruff in the 61st semi-annual general conference, October 6th, 1890, he said this. He said, the Lord will never permit me or any other man who stands as president of this church to lead you astray. It is not in the program. It is not in the mind of God. If I were to attempt that, the Lord would remove me out of my place, and so he will any other man who attempts to lead the children of men astray from the oracles of God and from their duty. So we're good. We don't ever have to question things that President Nelson tells us. Now, it's okay to question. It's okay to ask the Lord for confirmation, but we don't have to think that, I don't know, should I be listening to President Nelson? That sounds a little weird to me. I'm going to back off. And I mean, he's not going to lead us astray. Right. The Lord will not allow it because the Lord's in charge. We have to remember that. So
One of the best things that I love about section 3 is that it's recorded. It's written down. Right. Joseph shows his humility here and letting the world see his rebuking, because the Lord, just like you said, Marcus, the Lord says, listen, you have these gifts, but they can be taken away just like that. If you continue to kind of set my counsel aside and start resting on your own wisdom and everything. And so he puts it in there. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I mean, he could have left all this out, to tell you the truth. I mean, we blame Martin, but Joseph's the one that didn't listen. He's the one that gave it to him, so, it's all parties here, but he could have been like, people, my buddies ain't got to know this. Saints in the South ain't got to talk about this.
That's right.
But it's a learning experience for him.
Absolutely.
So that's a great point.
It's an example for all of us to be humble. And again, everybody messes up, and it's okay if people know about it.
Yeah.
You know what's, I was just going to say one last cool thing from me on section 3 is it's so cool in verse 17 and 18 when Jesus Christ goes into, talking about how the work will go forward, et cetera, and to the world and stuff through Joseph Smith. But he says into the Nephites and the Jacobites, the Josephites, the Zoramites, he talks about Lamanites, Lemunites, Ishmaelites, all kind of stuff. Jesus is saying all this stuff. What's so interesting is that the prophet Joseph Smith is not yet translated in any of these passages. And so when he received this revelation recorded in Doctrine and Covenants 3, it says that the verses 16 through 20 would have expanded his understanding of the purposes and the destiny of the Book of Mormon. So that's pretty cool that, he probably heard, some of these verses or something. I say verses, to him, it was just revelation that was given to him. And he was probably thinking, Ishmaelites, who's the Ishmaelites? What's going on or whatever.
Cool. That's cool.
It's pretty cool that he has all this. This was before he actually got to some of those passages of the Book of Mormon, but it's pretty neat how that works.
Yeah.
So D&C section 4.
Section 4, baby. Andrew's got it memorized. Go.
So in the mission, how about y'all?
We had to memorize.
We memorized I'm assuming missionaries. So you got to think missionaries. That's what we read. That's what we memorize.
I know he knows it. I couldn't do it right now for $100.
No. So this revelation was actually given to Joseph's dad. It was geared towards him and his dad. You got to think the American Revolution already happened. So it was a land of free, but of uncertainty also for Joseph. He didn't belong to a church, and he's having these dreams, and he'd have these dreams that he walked these paths and go to this beautiful garden, but didn't know what it meant. He would go to other places and get locked out of buildings, felt like he was judged. Mm-hmm. So he was having these anxious, unusual dreams. And during this time, he was like, understanding Joseph Smith, his son, who's younger, obviously, like, hey, he's understanding Joseph's mission. He's learning that, hey, Joseph's becoming a prophet here, or, this God-loving man, Joseph Smith Jr. So he makes a trip to go see his son and his daughter-in-law. And he tells Joseph about his dreams. What's up? I'm having all these dreams. What do they mean? And then Joseph Smith receives section 4, which is it's very well known throughout the missionary world.
It's sort of a job description. I've heard people say it's like a job description for those that are wanting to work for the Lord. This is what's required. Here's your requirements. This is what the Lord needs. If you want to work, this is the deal, and
how the Lord relates to his people, like Peter, he talks about fishers of men. Well, here's harvesting, Joseph Smith was a farmer. Joseph Smith Sr.
Yeah.
He was a farmer. Wasn't successful all the time, but he definitely worked really, really hard as a farmer. And actually that's what he knew. That's why he moved to Palmyra, left Vermont. But he, anyway, so it's just it's so great how the Lord knows each of his people.
That's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very personable.
Yeah.
I had never thought about that either.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that.
And how Joseph Smith Sr. then applied section 4 in his life, and you could say, and then he moved forward and became a harvester for all kind of souls. So he definitely was just an interesting 7 verses, but job description.
To my understanding and what I'd read after that revelation was given, I think Joseph Sr. he became more vocal about what Joseph was experiencing, and began
right.
sharing it more and everything.
For sure. With his children, again, he was being a harvester of souls, definitely.
It's awesome. So everything's kind of back to normal now.
Right.
And Martin decides to head back to Harmony and show up to Joseph. And it was mentioned.
How dare him?
Right. Exactly. That's right. But it was mentioned.
You, sir.
This is when the court situation had come about. Lucy had filed suit basically against her husband. Well, not against her husband, but against Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith.
And
She was tricking Martin, as she thought.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this whole thing revolves, to me, the whole thing as I read the story revolves around Lucy. She actually contested this and actually got people to witness that, quote unquote, witness that these things were false and that Joseph Smith was running a scam, so to speak. And so Martin Harris this was a bad situation for him. His wife has done this. Now it says one of the reasons why he wanted to see the plate so bad is so that if he went to court, think about this. If you went to court and was told, you got to prove to me that those plates are real, what do you show? What do you do? And so that's his dilemma. He has to go to Joseph and say, can I please see the plates? I've got to see them because I'm in a situation here. I'm fixing to have to go to court. I don't want to go to jail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot there, and there's more to that story. So there's a lot of context here that puts Martin Harris in this predicament and puts Joseph Smith in this predicament.
So Martin shows back up and he says, look, dude, I know I've messed up before, okay? And I know I've made some requests, okay? But I got to see them plates, man. Can you help me out?
I got to.
What's up, man?
Like, it's a whole legal issue, dude.
Yeah.
I got to get this done.
And Joseph, man, Joseph being the loving man that he is, he goes to the Lord. He could have said, dude, listen, I'm not going to you for the Lord anymore, all right?
Yeah.
I know what happened last time, and I know you remember it, so we're done.
Yeah. I don't, I'm sure Joseph was, when he heard this, he was like, are you kidding me? Here we go.
Even this, Martin, this is what Martin told him. He says, look, I'm going to have to appear in court. And if I don't have proof, I'm going to have to testify against you.
Exactly.
And I'm like, dang, man.
And so I'm sure Joseph went to the Lord with that.
That's right.
Lord, this is the situation. What do we do here? I'm sure that's how it was,
So Joseph's the mediator between God and Martin.
Exactly.
In this section here. And section 5 is basically prescribes humility and faith towards Martin. Hey, this is what you need to do,
He goes back and he testifies. He actually testifies in court that he says, look, and it says he's got his arm raised. He says, I have not been deceived by Joseph. I have freely given him $50. And
I remember.
And
I remember
testified.
this now.
So he testified of their truthfulness without having seen them.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Which says a lot.
Okay, I remember now. It says if he in 27, right after what Jackson, it says, but if he deny this, in other words, this covenant which he has covenanted before me, he is condemned, basically, is what the Lord said. And honestly, Martin Harris never denied seeing the plates. He never denied it. And so he kept that covenant his whole life. And so for that reason, he was not condemned, at least on that principle. And so you might want to say, well, Martin Harris left the church, he was excommunicated or whatever. And, there's a lot of things that went on, but I'm telling you, we cannot judge these people. This is a different time. It was a different situation with a lot of these people. Things happened that we don't even know all the details about, but there was things about Martin Harris. He never denied it. He never denied that the Book of Mormon was real. He saw the plates, he saw the angel, et cetera, et cetera. He took it to his grave, man. He never broke that covenant with the Lord. There might have been some other things that, but we can't judge these people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to use Stephen Hutchison, terminology of a microcosm, right? I think
microcosm.
He
made that word up.
That's right. So Martin's life is like millions of other lives, just like ourselves, right? So where we're on this journey of becoming who Heavenly Father sees us and wants us to become, but on this journey, we go through those dips and valleys and ups and downs and everything, and just it's all about learning and becoming who we can become.
And everybody's dip and valley is different than somebody else's dip and valley.
And they're all deeper or a little less shallow
or higher or what.
Yeah. So mine sometimes goes pretty deep.
Yeah. And so, and sometimes mine's deeper than yours. I mean, it's like we could now.
I don't know. Like, I'm on a paved road.
Hey,
I feel like I'm on a paved golden road right now.
Yeah. Andrew, he's never
a
been
dip
in the valley. No,
he's always on the up.
But yeah, I mean, so we cannot compare our lives to these people's lives or try to say,
but we can learn from
Joseph. Exactly.
That's what I love about all these details.
Bingo.
It helps us learn.
It helps us learn that these are men, but they're men of God that are striving. You know what I'm saying? They're not perfect. They're not perfect.
Preach it, Brother Marcus.
Yeah, we got to strive by.
So I love the last verse. And if thou art faithful in keeping my commandments, thou shalt be lifted up at the last day. And like we were saying, he was dips and valleys or whatever, but at the end he got rebaptized, went out to Utah, unknown foreign land to him. He went out there later.
Right.
And they said his testimony at the end was so powerful. He died there in Clarkston, Utah. It lingered around that town for years. It was so powerful. And on his deathbed, his last words, he never denied the Book of Mormon. It's that famous video. I don't know what video.
Yeah. With
you'll see that video. Do what?
Where the reporter interviews him.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Where he's on his deathbed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Martin Harris.
I have to be reminded because Martin Harris did get rebaptized, right?
Yeah, he got got rebaptized. Yeah. So he definitely, he went out to Utah. Again, he joined during the Nauvoo when Joe Smith died. Right. But then he just humbled himself and went out there. And after he said he wouldn't go out there. Right. But he was reminded of
another valley and a mountain. Well, I ain't going out there to Utah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I will.
I will. He straight up lived in the valleys out there. Yeah. So but they said his testimony was so powerful, and it lingered on for years. He would just go around town telling people about his experience and all. So it was hung in powerful. There. Yeah,
he hung in there. I'm not gonna say it.
like a hair and a biscuit.
Like a hair and a biscuit. That's another t-shirt.
Man, Martin Harris, man, he's like Jackson said, man, he's a lot of us.
He's a lot of us, man.
He really is, man.
I think that's what makes this so great is that I feel like I got a chance.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, really. I mean, it's like, I might have a chance here. It's like, it's pretty cool,
And that's why the scriptures are so important. Reading how Joseph and Martin both got basically rebuked and corrected, and then turn around and loved. And we read those scriptures at times in our life, and it's like, yep, that's me. I needed to hear that. I got to get myself back on track here. The Lord still loves me. So let's keep on striving. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, he reined it in when he needed to. He died at age 92.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he lived a long time.
Yeah. He lived in Utah only 5 years. I think he's like 87 or something, but he
said he was happiest when he could get somebody to listen to his testimony about the Book of Mormon. That's what it said. So he reined it in. I mean, Martin Harris was a good man. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Long live Brother Martin.
Yeah. He struggled with leadership and different. Like I said, man, I feel like there's a lot of Martins today, a lot of Martins out here. So, again, we can liken it to our day.
Oh yeah.
And here's the other thing is wanting to be involved. Martin wanted to be involved. He wanted to be a kind of a central figure, a central part of the work early on. and he just had to learn where his place was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, seriously. I mean, and that's the same with all of us. I know, sometimes we may be tempted to aspire to have certain callings in the church, like for example, I mean, I'm going to be straight up honest right here. Okay. Like being an apostle, that would be crazy cool. I mean, seriously, it really would be, right. So to have that opportunity, man, I'd love to have that opportunity to be a special witness of Jesus Christ.
Just 24/7 head out.
That's right. You head out and just have just minister out to everybody and stuff, but listen, that ain't my place. Right.
Exactly.
But at the same time, and I kind of think that's where Martin was. Martin said, man, Joseph is having, because Martin was a religious man.
Yes.
He wanted to be, he said early on, he wanted to be involved in the work of God. So, anyway.
Yeah. And again, we said it earlier. I mean, it was him that financed the Book of Mormon. I mean, the Book of Mormon we got today, I mean, he laid it on the line. It would have been someone else, I guess.
But he laid it on the line, baby.
Yeah. Put his farm up and everything.
That's why his wife was so... and you can't blame, you think about what our wives would do if all of a sudden there was a guy uptown let's don't talk about religion, but let's just say it's some kind of business venture.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you put everything you got up and to give to him to, let's go, man, I believe in this guy. I mean, that's going to cause some concern from the wife and go, wait a minute, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
That's right. And already it's already documented that he and Lucy had marital issues. They had kind of a contentious relationship and stuff. Yeah. So this didn't make things easier for sure.
No, definitely.
They were actually planning on doing some traveling before this whole plate translation thing and plates thing came up, and so that kind of put her and his dreams on hold for a little bit. Yeah. And she was, I think she was honestly concerned about losing the wealth that,
she absolutely was. That's why she fought so hard against this. Yeah, exactly. Cause one thing I wanted to say was, is basically that, in verse 2 of section 5, my servant Joseph Smith Jr. and have commanded you that you should stand as a witness of these things. So the Lord told the prophet Joseph Smith that his role was to bear witness of the Book of Mormon and his sacred calling by testifying to the world rather than making the plates available for all to see. So Joseph Smith's role was not to show the plates to everybody in the world, because it wouldn't have worked. Everybody would have saw them. It would have been within a week. Everybody would have been over it. Everybody been like, big deal, whoop-de-doo. So the whole thing here, you see it over and over. The Lord tells Joseph Smith, on your word, it's your testimony that you're to share about these things, not to just go out and show everything, just show these things to everybody. It wouldn't have worked. So,
and no different from Old Testament, New Testament. It's always faith is the first principle of the gospel. To believe. We're asked to believe, So,
and in verse 16, just to end it, it says, and behold, whosoever believeth on my words, them will I visit with the manifestation of my spirit, and they shall be born of me, even of the water and of the spirit. So in other words, we too can add our names to a list of witnesses. Every time that I saw, Jackson, where you put up on the, on our group page, on Facebook about, where did we receive a witness of Joseph Smith? When was it? What was it? How was it? For those that want to share or whatever. And so when we receive a witness of the Book of Mormon, of Joseph Smith, of all these things for ourselves, we can add our name to those lists. We got the 8 witnesses, the 3 witnesses, but we can literally add our name to a list of witnesses whenever we receive that personal witness that these things are true. And that's our charge. That's what we got to do, is to receive that witness. However it is, there's no right or wrong way to receive a witness, but you'll know when you know through the Spirit. But we can add our name to that list, so we become witnesses in that way. I think that's pretty cool too.
Very good. Well, there you have it, folks. We hope you've enjoyed the show. And just like we've learned last year in the Book of Mormon to liken the scripture to ourselves, we can do the same thing here with the Doctrine and Covenants and also with church history. So until next time, y'all keep on striving. All right, everybody. We hope y'all are enjoying the shows. Be sure to check out the website, saintsinthesouth.com. We'd love for y'all to leave a review, rate the show, and you can access all parts of our shows through the website. So be sure and check that out. Check us out on Instagram, Saints in the South. Check us out on Facebook, Saints in the South, and Twitter, Saints in the South. Easy to remember.
Man, we want to interact with you guys. We want to bring it in. We want everybody with us. So anything that y'all can comment or talk about or correct us on, man, we welcome it.
Y'all keep on subscribing. Have a good time, and let's learn together.
Hey, and y'all be sure and check out these additional videos. We got Uncle Andrew right here. We got other podcast shows over here.
You never know what kind of pair of socks I'm getting ready to put on. So,
man, and I'm tell you what, right now, man, get your socks and go with Uncle Andrew somewhere.
We've got a Patreon account out there. All the funds go towards marketing and Marcus's pocket, and